Well, one of the cases that we have been watching with great interest is the case of Brock Turner and the rape case. And I think everybody's kind of stunned that this case got twisted, and he actually was able to blame the school for the party conditions and get his sentence reduced. What's happening to us? What a delight to have back with us Wendy Patrick, an attorney, and we've had her on the show quite a few times. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, how are you, Perry?
Good to see you this morning. Thanks for your time. As an attorney and prosecutor, what's going on with this thing?
Well, you know, Perry, judges have discretion when it comes to imposing sentences, and this judge has come under an enormous amount of fire for the sentence that he's imposed. Part of the reason for that, interestingly, is the victim's letter. She wrote a letter that was so impassioned, that was so filled with emotion, it really went viral, and she's described herself appropriately as every woman. She's trying to remain somewhat anonymous, as you can imagine, for obvious reasons. But that letter really resonated as to the impact that a rape has on the life of the victim. Not something that was cited in, obviously, in the defense's favor. They, of course, want to emphasize the facts. And this is typical, Perry, of any case. Prosecution really talks about, as they did a great job here, of how the victim was impacted. Defense talks about how their client should be entitled to leniency. Those are the reasons this case has caught fire and is engendered in so much, I would say, outrage on the part of the victim.
Right. So where does this go, Wendy? It seems to me that, I don't know, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. If there is no consequence for these kinds of actions, where does this lead?
Well, one of the things that's been suggested, and again, Perry, it's a very difficult and complicated process to unseat a sitting judge. But that is one avenue, I suppose you could call it, that some people are taking. They're trying to gather signatures. 2 legislators have actually called for him to resign. So it's not as easy. Remember that unlike federal judges, state judges do not enjoy lifetime appointments. Nonetheless, it is not easy to recall or petition to have a sitting judge recalled. So those are some things people are talking about right now. But Perry, I also have to remind you that around the country, there have been similar scenarios that judges have gotten themselves into by basically making a ruling that really outrages the public. And of course, judges are not allowed to respond. That's part of their canons of ethics. So what you're seeing happen now is a process that's permissible under the law that some people are taking advantage of to see if, in fact, this is a judge they want to continue to try to recall. And not everybody is in favor of that process. There are some people that say, well, it's his discretionary call what to take into consideration in deciding what sentence to give in a particular case. But regardless of what side the public is on, everybody has to respect the process with which this can be dealt with. And that's what you see happening now, Perry.
Yeah, to go from 14 years sentence to down to just months is quite a jump. Now, one article, I think this one was really crazy, but I wanted to ask you about it. Some are saying that because the judges have these kinds of discretions on these cases, and prison crowding being what it is, that might have been an issue. Therefore, you're minimizing sex crimes and the consequences of sex crimes because, well, they aren't really bad. This was a one-time event. Let's just get them out because we need the space for worse criminals.
You know, one of the things that cases like this does is it shines a spotlight on the insidious epidemic of sexual assault on college campus. Regardless of how many people are in a jail or a prison or overcrowding or some of the other things that have been discussed in respect to this case, it really brought back into the forefront what a significant problem this is. I mean, Stanford came forward and they said, we did everything we could to make sure justice was served. We got this right over to the police department. We got reports taken. But, you know, campus sexual assault is a problem that's here to stay. It is severely underreported, and you can imagine there were a variety of reasons for that, for everything from embarrassment to shame to alcohol intoxication. The list goes on and on. What you've seen, Perry, as a result of the attention given this case is an increase in attention in the fact that we need to do more to address this problem. I mean, thank goodness for those 2 graduate students that walked by when they did and witnessed the assault taking place. But there's got to be more resources devoted to making sure on the front end that we try to do what we can to take a dent out of the phenomena of campus sexual assault. It's real, it happens all the time, and we can't emphasize enough the necessity to put things in place that'll prevent this from happening again.
Very well said. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for your time. I know you're busy. Let me just say to our viewers and listeners, this lady's spot on. She's a hawk in so many ways. Go to her website, wendypatrickphd.com. wendypatrickphd.com. Thanks, Wendy. Looking forward to seeing you again soon.